What's going on, party people? Welcome to Blast Overtime Legends Stage Edition. This time we didn't get any players because they have no personality, so we instead got Mads and Maui. Guys, what have we witnessed?
A travesty, a train wreck. This is the worst day of my life. This wasn't supposed to happen.
I've seen you have some bad days, Maui.
I've been through it, and this takes the cake. This is, in some ways, I think some people are probably wondering, why is it bad when an underdog wins? You know, I like a little underdog story. And time to time, I do appreciate the underdog story, but it's just kind of in the moment. We don't know what B&E or Into the Breach are going to do. If B&E or Into the Breach win every match here on out, and they actually just go deep into the playoffs, start spoiling everybody's run, we can give credence to what they accomplished today. But if they just fall out of it, they go 1-3, and then it just kind of, once again, is an indictment on the whole BO1 system that the Swiss format is using in the major. And that's why I'm upset. That's why I'm upset about all this.
The wins can be cute, but sometimes not sexy.
I mean, it is a major. Sometimes upsets are bound to happen, right? And this was certainly one of those days. This was it was one of those days of all time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we do have some sort of legitimate performances within these games of, like, if you look at ITB, it wasn't as if there was something extremely bad about the way FaZe played that would lead you to, expect them to lose the game. We had some really good individual play. They actually did have the confidence coming into the game. They kind of talked the talk and then walked the walk. I wasn't there for G2 B&E. Maybe you could fill me in on that.
So G2 got off to a 10-5 start, T-side Ancient, CT side swap. Scenari is in a 1v3. He kills the first guy, I forgot who that was. 1v2, the bomb is near T-spawn, and Scenari is in middle. JKS is guarding the bomb in T-spawn. Nico is top mid, about to peek red room. He catches a timing where he sees Scenari, and he whiffs his USP on him. He misses multiple shots. This is it. This is the round right here. Gets the first one, and already, we didn't see it right there, but Nico just whiffed like 4 bullets of his USP, which gave Scenari an opportunity to run away from Nico and put himself in a 1v1. Plants the bomb at B, instantly taps out Nico, guesses where he's going to be rotating back from.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it was 6-10. It felt like G2 could still just close this out, you know, first gun round, but no. B&E go on a 6-round streak off the back of that, and they end up winning 16-13, and it just felt like G2 were starting to cower. They started playing back a lot, or they had very half-assed plays towards middle, and Nico would sometimes just go for a fight towards cave and just die. Like they were taking what felt like individual fights. There weren't trades on those fights, and sometimes B&E off of those individual kills would just slot themselves deep, and then G2 just kind of went for walk pushes, some rotations, but they were basically playing catch-up to B&E for that entire half.
But aren't we at this point where Bad News Eagles, they've always been ripe for an upset, you know? They've always had that power to take down a name that everybody thought, hey, okay, maybe they're the favorites. But no. B&E, they have that upset potential. We've seen it now, but hey, before this major, like, they had 1 win and 6 losses, B&E. And now, they have 2 wins, 6 losses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've beaten FaZe in a best of 3. The last major, they did it to qualify to this one. They have Devil Walk now, who has clearly been doing a great job as a coach for the team, who play such a unique way of Counter-Strike that other teams don't copy them, but their style still works versus some bigger dogs, and they clearly show that they know their opponents, and they bring that same confidence. The thing is, you reference a certified G2 moment, right, in that game with the clutch that happens. We didn't have that in the FaZe ITB game. That's like the most worrying part of all. There was no 1v3 that everything really crumbled from there, money getting crushed. ITB actually beat them on both ends of the game. When it came to starting on CT side, ending on T side, they were the ones that were adapting. They were the ones that were keeping up. But it does speak to your point about the underdogs, we're talking rank 27, winning a game like this. It's the same thing if you watch like a boxing match, for example. If you don't beat the champion by a good margin, it's not worth it to have the guy who won be the new champion. Because if they go on to lose to the next guy or the ranked 25th guy, then it's a Pyrrhic victory. It's annoying for all the fans to watch, of course. If you're that team, all you care about is the win. But it's kind of strugglesome when Furia, FaZe, G2, who else do we have in
Nine
in O2 matches have to eliminate each other.
But also the fact that you got to consider this, that fans will always also want to look and see the best teams that they know can play in the next stage, right? They want to see the best teams in the arena. And if you don't feel that the teams that actually got there are the best ones, did they really deserve it then?
It doesn't change how well they would do versus higher ranked teams. I think we can't turn a blind eye to that. The reality is, if we get into an arena, are FaZe going to play better than ITB?
Yeah, I mean, the quality of wins is something where it just sets expectations so much for us, where I'd say going into this stage, for example, a lot of people were probably ready to write off a team like Fnatic, even though they went flawless at their RMR. They go 3-0, but it's against a lot of lower ranked opposition. I think 2 of the teams didn't even qualify for the major, and I think the third might have been like an Into the Breach or something like that. And that just kind of made us think, like, is there any validity to this? But then you see G2 3-0 the challenger stage, look pretty good in their RMR2, and you think, yes, there's quality behind that. I have reason to believe, based off of recent results, that they're going to be doing well. And then to just have one bad day like this in 2 BO1s, that's kind of why I'm more of the opinion that it's just that this system feels like it could use a revamping in terms of just competitiveness. I just want to see BO3s quicker. Maybe you could do, I wouldn't even mind if it's just opening BO1. Say you just want to get through a lot of matches really quickly and then go into BO3s later or something. But I just think that I've been turned. I thought BO1s were okay for a while. I thought since the economy changed, you're getting enough gun rounds that everybody has a fair opportunity here. It's not like you just get reset once and a random round and then you're out of the picture. I just want to see the depth of map pool tested, because I think people are getting away with winning games because they have 4 maps. And BO1s let you have 4 maps. You can ban 3.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where the purest Counter-Strike in BO3s, you're tested on 6 of your maps. You can have a permaban, but then teams can punish pick.
Yeah.
They can punish pick, then you're kind of at their will.
And yeah, we are pushing Counter-Strike CSGO to its limits in terms of what you can get out of any one of the single maps that we've had for many, many years at this point. So maybe a BO1 isn't good enough for the top teams to distinguish themselves. Now, on the upshot, of course, we do have a good story to come out of the Challenger stage, especially if you're North American, and that's Liquid 2-0ing and looking fantastic and ramping in a way that actually makes sense based on how good they looked into Legends, in a way that G2 didn't.
The win over Na'Vi was one of the most convincing victories I have seen today. I think it was the most convincing I saw today. There might have been one that was score-wise equal. I think there was another 16-8 somewhere across the board here. But the way that Yakindar was just destroying every single Na'Vi player on banana control repeatedly.
Pleasure to watch.
Exactly. It was beautiful CS, and it was supported by flashes and his mechanics. It was this combination where he would go to a certain point, whether it's the corner at the car, the half wall, or even just to take that early banana control space, and he knew every single time what nade needed to be thrown to get him some more space. It was, in some ways, just... I've been saying this word a lot, but it was a masterclass. It was a masterclass of banana performances.
Game up. Yep.
So I think you actually spoke to NAF to get some information.
Yeah, I did, and we talked about it, me and Maui, and it was like, what does it feel like in a team setting when you go 0-2 and then you have to climb back to get 3 wins in a row to get to the next stage, and then you're 2-0? I mean, let's just listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, obviously, it feels amazing. Being down 0-2, obviously, I think that struck a nerve in us a little bit. I think a lot of us were pushed to our limit, mentally, especially when you're down 0-2 last CSGO major. I don't think a lot of us wanted to, just go out that way. I think a lot of us are still on that hunt for that major, especially Liege and Nitro. They've been looking for a long time. They made finals of majors back in 2016. So yeah, I think we're feeling good. Obviously we're up 2-0 now in this stage, and yeah, it was pretty much life or death, so we needed to come back, and that's what we found. Jesus, found God, I don't know, found whatever we needed to find, and now we're here now, 2-0.
Looking at the atmosphere in the team, going from the challengers to the legends, there must have been something that kind of needed some mixing up, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the first game versus Apex, I played really bad individually, and You know, I feel like I would definitely let my team down in that aspect. I feel like we definitely could have won. It was still a close game, even though I played pretty much atrocious. And then into the FaZe game, you know, it was close. I think we just made small errors that just ended up costing us, and we still lost 16-14. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's we're just finding our form. You know, I think like after all those games, we had a lot to say, a lot of frustration, a lot of talks. You know, reminding us, you know, it's like this is the moment to show up. This is the moment we've waited all year for, and we can't just go out 0-3. I think that would have been really, really bad. I think that would have been pretty disgraceful for ourselves and to our org and everybody, all the fans that show us love. So yeah, I'm just happy that we're able to bounce back.
Well, someone's got to go 0-3, and it might be another org that might feel some similar feelings to that disgrace, disgust, torment, the fans online. You know, it could get bad.
But just imagine, sorry if I interrupted here, but just imagine that immense pressure it takes a toll on you personally, on the team atmosphere, everything. Once you go 0-2, it is a tough hill to climb up to get those 3 wins in a row, and they're all best of 3s, man.
Yeah, I think the coolest insight there for me was that NAF's religious.
Jesus take the wheel or something, I think is what he said.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, for NAF-FLY, that's one good story, first of all, and a kind of unlikely one. And another sort of unlikely one, but welcome one, was Vitality, right? We're talking about Vitality, who looked as good as they're supposed to look, but with G2 and FaZe and a tough opening round, you think they have room to have an excuse. And if they didn't play well today, it'd be like, oh, they went 1-1. Like, that's kind of what we expect from Vitality. Hopefully they survive to get to play in front of the crowd in Paris. But they stun. They go 2-0, and ZywOo is looking for a candidate for a graffiti right out the gate.
Yeah, and CSGO Twitter, you know, they even tweeted, "Put this in the Louvre." And I mean, I did talk to him. I got him to talk through that clip. It was amazing, so I'm pretty sure we actually have it so we can show the people. And you had a great play today. Yeah. The 1v4 that even CSGO's official Twitter tweeted about. I'm going to show you the clip, as long as you can see it from here. Perfect. Tell me what went through your mind when you made this insane 1v4 clutch, all right? I'm gonna play it for you from the beginning.
So actually, at the beginning of the round, I mean, when I was ramp, I knew Enter was heaven because he killed someone. So I knew, and after that, I have to take my timing. I mean, if I stay too passive, I know I'm dead. I know they're gonna play together. They're gonna play with Molly like they did. Yeah, I mean, I have to do something. After that, after I killed Hunter, I did the silent boost for them didn't hear me going down. And yeah, I kind of knew where they were, except Mauisnake, because the communication for the team was like one was main, so any molly door. So I expect it was the same guy. So I just did the silent boost, I killed the guy's sides, and he molly door. So I had to play aggressive because I don't know where Mauisnake was. So I just picked him, and after I was just kind of not lucky, but I was just expecting to show himself because I didn't know where he was, and he just shoot through smoke and I killed him. That's it. Yeah.
And that shot through the smoke. Explain to us, why did you shoot through it? Because none of us could see it in the green room. How did you see him?
Actually, after the game, they asked me, how did you see it? But on my monitor, I could see his small legs. I could see it. I could see him. So I wasn't surprised to kill him because I could see it, and everyone else was like, "Oh my God, what a shot!" And I was like, "Okay, that was pretty good then." But I could see it. I could see small legs from the left. Yeah.
And just lastly, rate it from 1 to 10 of your best plays. Where does this one go?
I think I will always put my P250 on top 1 because this one was crazy, and yeah, maybe in my top 3 now. Yeah.
I wish I had so many highlights that I could argue for that to be in my top 3. The nuke silent drop in and of itself is so difficult that takes an extensive amount of practice, and then to execute it in a high pressure moment like that, and then to be rewarded with someone looking into heaven because you made that silent drop. It was a really magical moment. It's one that if it was in front of a crowd or something, I mean, that would be one of the best plays that we've seen in the last year, honestly. It still might be, honestly.
I mean, given this stage of the major, I don't know if they're going to do a graffiti, but I think the silent drop could merit one for that because it was exceptional. To especially in Paris on top of that. I don't know what they would want to do for that. I feel like we've seen some pretty cool plays actually at the previous major that didn't give graffitis, and I don't know if are they gonna port graffitis over to CS2? What do you guys think?
It would make sense. I mean, they do have a history, but in CSGO, so maybe not, maybe. But here's a little thought process that we can go on. What if this was a graffiti? What would you put as? I would personally put a parachute.
A parachute, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking that, you know how they have on the Olaf boost, they have like the signs that they made instead of actual graffiti up there. Like they could put something above the palette, like under construct. I don't know what they would. No, I have no good idea for this.
Could be like a silence kind of thing, like a shh people at work or something like that.
A picture of Shush's face, just for fun.
Shush's face, yeah.
Just let fall in the librarian. Okay, well. Dude, ZywOo, he's in god form, and Vitality, that's exactly what they need. So yeah, somehow Liquid and Vitality, they 2-0. As tragic as today was for some of our favorite teams, that leaves ENCE in the 1-1 if we're going to talk about some favorites for playoffs. Are there any other teams that we're missing that sort of just skirted by middle of the pack?
Navi's 1-1.
Navi's 1-1 as well.
Yeah. I mean, the other two zeros are Monty and Heroic. I'd say that a lot of us would have thought Heroic would have been that far, but Monty's a little bit of a nice surprise, carrying over some of what they were able to do in the Challenger stage. I think that the man that has caught our attention most of all has been Boros.
Oh, Boros.
And yeah, he's just keeping it up. I mean, that dude is, in terms of just pure mechanics on any rifler in this stage, or basically the world, I guess you would put it as, I think for mechanics alone, top 10, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put the whole game in the top 10, but I mean, in terms of what he's doing in Monty's system, yeah, he's up there.
In terms of fear aura for Monty right now, I think a lot of teams are terrified of him. So yeah, that kind of wraps up talking about where we're at after day one, like a tumultuous, rambunctious, ridiculous series of results. But we've also got some questions for those tuned in to Blast TV, where you're watching 4K, no ads, and you have WRIZ. What we've got to ask here, and I'll ask you guys these questions, I suppose. What is, in your opinion, the key to clear communication? How do you separate comms from each player in the heat of the moment?
You want to start?
Yeah, sure. Clear communication, I think, depends on just what needs to be outlined. I'd say, like, there's a few ways you could break this down, because I think, like, I noticed that when there was a post-game interview we had today, I don't know if you conducted it, or was it Banks or who, honestly, but one of the coaches talked about that they needed to just make sure that they were giving, it was DJL. It was DJL talking about it, and he was saying that in the game one that NIP played, they weren't actually giving next step plans. They were getting into setups, and then they weren't saying how they're going to react to certain moments. So he wanted, in the next game that they played today against Furia, which they dropped no CT side rounds on, he said that they just made way more plans. So it's not only just saying, I'm here, you're there, I'm hearing an opponent here, but also having foresight and prefacing or priming the reactions that you and your teammate are going to have when some sort of situation which you expect unfolds.
Maybe I'll let you take the next question, because we've got a bunch here.
Okay.
So we can run down and go back and forth. This one's kind of funny because, of course, you know, Nine just lost their game to Gamer Legion. And so does that mean Pasha has to bike even faster to get here in order to either pick them up or maybe beat them up because he's got that MMA experience? The question is, let's talk about Pasha's journey on the bike. Haha.
I mean, heck yeah, he's got to bike fast, because right now nothing is promised. And I think it was Devilwalk who usually writes this for the Bad News Eagles guys. You do not deserve anything. So it's like, you got to fight for it. So Pasha, if you want to see 9, you got to freaking bike for it, you know? You got to actually bike faster, because it looks like they could go out tomorrow.
You could see Shuhei, though. At least Shuhei's the one that took him down. Polish in-game leader versus Polish in-game leader.
Yeah, and then you actually have Rallin, who just beat FaZe.
True.
And then you've got, there's another guy, Krasnal, in the 2-0.
Yep. True.
Lots of Polish representation here in France. Okay, Maui, do you wish there was a format change? Okay, well, that's actually a question.
I think I already talked about that.
That was a perfect question for you. Hold on, maybe we just keep going, because the answer is yes. Monty, surprising 2-0 start, and maybe their chances to go through. So Monty, they have 3 chances to win, but can they lock it down in a best of 3?
I would give them, just given that they're 2-0 and they're going to have 3 chances to do it, I'd probably give them 70% chances. I think their matchup tomorrow is one of Heroic, Vitality, or Liquid. I'll say I don't think that they're necessarily going to win that. And so, 2-1 game, 2-2 game. I think by 2-2, I think they'll get it done.
To be honest,
I think they'll get it done.
some of those games are easier now.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, because the 0-2 games, that's where dreams go to die. So, okay, Mads, how much help are sports psychologists from a player perspective, and has their impact on the scene been underrated? Do you have any inside information?
I don't feel like they've been underrated. I think they've been appreciated. And the whole thing is that once you have a team that can back you up, that can shove some, let's say, some sense into your mind, once you've jumbled everything into your head and you're tilted off the planet of the Earth, face of the Earth, you need somebody to tell you it's going to be all right. We need to mentally reset. We need to go out, touch some gas, just go walk in the park or something.
Touch some gas. All right,
Smell
George
some
Bush.
gas. What was that?
Touch some grass. My bad. But yeah, that's just
All
my
ass.
bad English, But basically,
I only smell
yes.
gas.
Take it away, Mads.
All right. No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, we can.
Mids
take
are
it from
gas to me.
there.
I'm sorry.
It's all
Okay,
good.
keep going.
I'm glad we're having fun here. Hope you too. But there's this one thing, because I've talked to a lot of sports psychologists throughout my time in esports, and it seems like every time they've been a part of a team, that team has always had a universal benefit from it. And it's always been clear that the players have had a different mindset, I'd say, because they get some, I said sense before, but it's not just sense. It's more like they see clearer. It's more like they see through that fog of every idea that you have, and you need to know which one that's the right one to choose in this moment, because our brains are just hardwired to think our solution that we think is logical is the one that we're going to go for, because that is the logical solution. So sports psychologists, big thumbs up.
Final 2 here, Mads. Waffles or pancakes?
Hell yeah, both.
The answer is yes. And Maui, favorite cheese?
I've started liking goat cheeses a lot.
I got a question for you,
that's-
Maui.
yeah.
Havarti over provolone? Question mark.
Provolone.
I think provolone's a little bit more
More versatile.
useful.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, sandwiches. I'm not putting Havarti.
What about foot cheese?
It's not spicy. I don't want to eat it.
No food cheese.
Okay, why don't we take a look at the bracket? We've wrapped up the Blast TV questions here, and I want to ask, what's the match of the day?
That's a good question. And it looks like, I think I have to take from the 0-2 column just because it's do or die for those guys.
Yeah.
And so take your pick between Furia G2 or 9 FaZe. I somehow smell the 9 Renaissance happening here. What we saw from them at the RMR, I think FaZe are likely to fall to be the next victim.
It is kind of interesting to see, though, that like even these 2-0 games, these are relatively strong teams that got through. That, it's like Monty is the weakest of the bunch, but overall, like, if it's not, if it's teams are in 0-2 is surprising, but it's not surprising that like they lost at least one game, because Heroic, Vitality, and Liquid being there, maybe the, Vitality and Liquid less likely, but still expected to some degree.
I definitely say that Monty Vitality is a game to watch no matter what, because Monty has so far been a very pleasant surprise here in France. And that individual firepower that we keep looking at, Boros, Waro 2K, they've been amazing to watch, I feel.
I will do overtime tomorrow if Monty get over 12 rounds. But I'm doing overtime tomorrow.
All right, let's go. We're in.
There we go.
I
Okay.
gave him the death
bit of a
stare.
close one, yeah.
Folks, thank you so much for tuning in for the first episode of the Legend stage of the Blast.tv Paris Major Overtime Episode 1 with special guest Mads. Okay? Keep tuning in on Blast TV. We appreciate you so much. And as always, you always have enough money to buy a Deagle.